Welcome to Northwest Chills. If you're easily frightened, please turn back now. If you think you can endure this ghastly adventure, then please turn the lights off, turn the volume up, and be prepared to get chills. Viewer discretion is advised.
Off of a rugged colonial-era toll road where mud-filled ruts are a regular obstacle and likewise 4x4s are all too common, lies Danbury Quarter Cemetery. You can gain access to this road in the time capsule of a town, Winchester Center. The forests in this area hide many lost things from the past, and the old dirt roads seem to go on forever as they reach out from what was like the branches on a long-forgotten tree. The cemetery's location has been its saving grace over the years, as well as organizations like the Brooks Green Woods Daughters of the American Revolution, who have cleaned up the cemetery in the past. It has been spared the same fate as others like it and not seen the same level of vandalism. The grounds house the remains of several families, veterans of American wars, and legend has it, a Native American princess. Buried with an unmarked, unrefined marker stone, it is rumored that someone dug up the Native American princess's body and robbed the grave some decades or centuries ago. No one knows for sure if the body is still there or not. Our research cannot find any police report or any information on a Native American princess being buried there or a crime being committed. Another bit of folklore suggests the ghost of a woman named Mary Crocker haunts this cemetery. According to locals, Mary was a woman who was left behind by a Civil War soldier as he went off to fight. She sadly died at the young age of 39. Locals claim she appears in the cemetery as a green mist, forever searching for her lost lover. Sounds familiar, I know. Many Winsted locals call her, you guessed it, the Green Lady. According to the legend, she is said to most commonly appear when it is foggy and when there is a full moon. Some report she appears in a particular corner of the cemetery and wanders around the graveyard, while others have seen her walking down the dirt road. Commonly, women ghosts searching for a lost love are referred to as white ladies. However, Mary Crocker has become well known for her greenish hue. With two eerily similar legends, only a couple of towns apart, it's difficult to decipher the facts of each legend and which came first. Burlington's Green Lady is well known, and that has become the real curse, causing heavy vandalism and robbery at the Seventh-day Baptist Cemetery. Perhaps the hidden Danbury Quarter Cemetery and its lesser-known Green Lady legend have helped preserve it from the wave of teenage destruction that rolled over the Burlington's Green Lady like a tsunami making landfall. Perhaps the Lady of Danbury Quarter is wandering the tombstones as we speak. Or is she walking the ancient toll roads that wind through the forests like rotting vines slowly decaying in the cool frost of autumn in New England? Traveling through the twists and turns of Route 72 on the Harrington-Terryville line, just off of a side road, sits a hiking trail. This well-preserved land sits on water company property, bordering a picturesque reservoir, beautifully bordered by the fire of New England fall foliage, pine and evergreen. But at the end of this trail, just over the border into Burlington, lie the secret hiding place of treasonous supporters of the Crown. Tory Den. The den is a small cave formed when a part of the cliffside fell onto a nearby boulder, forming a large lean-to shelter. Today, it is large enough to fit several people snugly, but centuries ago up to 30 men were said to have hid from the Sons of Liberty inside. There are 2 entrances, one on either side of the rock, with a small chimney-like area at the back end facing the cliffside. As the battle for the American Revolution was raging on many fronts, northwestern Connecticut would see its own turmoil in the form of traitors, or Tories as they were referred to. Imagine a young country struggling to stand on its own, and your very own neighbor sympathizes with the enemy and looks to undermine your cause at the expense of you and your family. The fear of treasonous acts was real, but the ones who had to be afraid were the Tories themselves. Stephen Graves was drafted into the Continental Army in 1777, and as one could do in those days, was able to gather enough funds to pay a soldier to fight in his place. However, he was again drafted in 1778 and was unable to cover the hefty cost of hiring someone to fight for him and was forced to go into hiding. Various caves and wooded areas were used to hide. Graves and several others would use Tory Den in Burlington, Connecticut on the mile of ledges to seek shelter. The men would take turns, all working one of their fields to stay safe in numbers. Their wives would alert them to trouble by sounding the dinner horn loudly and would again to tell them the coast was clear. It is said in the dark of the night, with only candlelight to guide them, the wives of these men would bring them food and water. Although the den in Burlington was vigorously sought after by Captain Joseph Wilson of Harwinton and the Sons of Liberty, they were never able to locate it. After independence was won, Graves returned to Harwinton and lived unprosecuted as a town leader in peace until his death in 1828. Perhaps the blood that had already spilled was enough. After all, the war had been won. Although, not all were as lucky as Mr. Graves. Moses Dunbar of Plymouth, Connecticut joined the King's Army and was commissioned as a captain. When he was found to be in possession of his royal commission, recruiting soldiers to fight for the king, he was immediately arrested. On March 19, 1777, he was hanged in Hartford, Connecticut for treason near the site of Trinity College today. It is said that his own father, Patriot Sergeant John Dunbar, offered the rope to be used as the noose. The legendary Leatherman also used this den as one of his many stops as he trekked through this area on a consistent 365-mile loop until his death in 1889. Hikers and historical enthusiasts alike have claimed to have heard the sounds of rhythmic drum beats thumping along while visiting the den. Heavy breathing and softly spoken voices are also common experiences. Reports of misty figures hovering around the cave's entrances have also found footing at the haunted cliffside. I have visited the area many times. It is a wonderful and historically significant hike. During the autumn, the Northwest Hills absolutely burst with color, making this haunting hike commonplace for many, locals and leaf peepers alike. I personally feel a slight feeling of dread here at times, as if I were being watched by someone I'd never known was there. The amount of anxiety and fear felt in this exact spot by so many has certainly left its footprint. It still shows itself today. Perhaps the lasting imprint of a secretive man dressed only in leather on an eternal loop passing through time with no regard for the living, or the ghosts of traitors to the patriots of our past. Could the Sons of Liberty still be searching? Around any corner, atop any cliff, deep inside any forest, or swallowed inside the dark mouth of the den.